I will never understand. Many of us on our side seem to think that everything's groovy, that Trump is in and everything's terrific, and hey, nothing to worry about. Hey, MAGA. Hey, wrong, wrong, wrong. For the first time in modern history and in modern memory, perhaps in the entire history of our republic, we are witnessing something far more dangerous, far more frightening than anything you can imagine. Far more dangerous than political polarization or economic uncertainty. What we are facing is a full-blown cultural erasure, not an integration, not an assimilation, not, mutual enrichment and heterogeneity, but erasure, ablation. America has always been a patchwork nation, a mosaic of tongues and languages and traditions and tribes. It's wonderful. We've taken pride in the promise of e pluribus unum, out of many. But that promise used to mean that newcomers to this land added their flavor to the already existing American stew that ultimately, joined the table. Think about however you want the stew, the gumbo, right? Under one roof, under one language, one cultural compass. They celebrated their heritage. They loved being an American, sure, but they also adopted ours. And they incorporated. We would be so rich. I'm here in New York City, and I can tell you right now that I will tell you that we, by foods alone, have benefited tremendously from this. I don't want to go back to some kind of a culinarily unipolar world. Understand what I'm saying here? But they celebrated their heritage in adopting ours. They learned English. They honored the flag. They came here to be Americans, part of this nation of immigrants, not to splinter it into a separate enclaves of grievance and resentment and incompatible ideologies. We're not talking about wearing a scarf. We're not talking about a hijab or a kippah or tzitzit or payas or no. We're not talking about that. But today the stew has, I guess, soured. What was once a rich blend of cultures is now fast becoming this dangerous brew, this witch's brew of tribalism and foreign allegiances and outright contempt for the very country that made it all possible, that embraced them. Now let's be clear, right? Because I know somebody's going to misunderstand this. Multiculturalism as a principle is not the problem. The problem is the weaponization of multiculturalism, the weaponization, the rebranding of the American identity as oppressive, outdated, or even evil. The shift didn't happen overnight. It's been building silently through academia, bureaucracy, and media, where our culture and history have been reframed as something to be apologized for rather than honored. Listen carefully. This is not Archie Bunker, 201 or whatever you want to call it. This is real, okay? Look at Europe. The continent is a crystal ball for what happens when national identity is thrown to the wolves of radical immigration and unchecked integration and failures and elite cowardice. France has neighborhoods so unrecognizable that police don't even patrol them. The UK is awash, simmering with no-go zones. And Sweden, once synonymous with peace and order, now contends with levels of gang violence that rival narco states. Think I'm exaggerating? It doesn't start with a bang. It starts with a whisper. Let them in. Don't be racist. Don't be intolerant. Don't have any kind of regulations. Come on. Don't be xenophobic. See, be cool. And who are the ones responsible? These leftist, imprisoned, atesticular, gonadless twerps who fancy themselves as the progs and the progressives. Now take a look at the United States. Look at Minnesota, for example. In cities like Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Somali diaspora has formed insulated communities, that largely resist assimilation. And meanwhile, we see increasing examples of foreign influence of creeping into political life. Candidates who barely mask their contempt for American traditions and laws, who operate within ethnic blocs rather than American civic values. I'm telling you, and in New York City, our supposed melting pot has become, I guess you might call it, a collection of separatist districts. There are boroughs where English is barely spoken, where American flags are rarities, where citizens born here feel like foreigners in their own city. Now, let me tell you something. We've seen this before. I'm a native Floridian. I'm from Florida. And we saw this in parts of Miami and Hialeah. There was one time there was a bank in Hialeah that says, "We speak English." They were going crazy. They passed the English as the official language statute or something. I don't know what the hell that even means. And it was, for the most part, sketchy at first, but it turns out that the Cuban American population are the most hardcore patriots you've ever met in your life. They make CPAC look like a Abby Hoffman convention. I mean, these people are hardcore. That's a different story. So sometimes looks can be deceiving. Look at what their message is. Look at how they want to embrace versus to infect. You heard me. And what's particularly sinister is the emergence of subterranean cultures and parallel societies where bastardized English, broken laws, and imported animosities thrive. These groups do not see themselves as part of a greater America. No. They're not seeking to build bridges, but walls, separate dividers, walls of language and faith and race and ideology. And many who were fueled not just by ignorance, but by a simmering hatred of the West and everything it and we and you stand for. Individual rights, free speech, secular law, gender equality, reason, and tolerance. Do not think I'm exaggerating. And when someone, you know what I'm talking about, when someone dares to ask the obvious, are we losing our country? They're shouted down as bigots. The moment you point out that culture matters, that there is, I guess, something worth preserving in American traditions, you're labeled a white nationalist, a xenophobe, or worse. It's gaslighting on a national scale. We must, ladies and gentlemen, confront an uncomfortable truth. The Constitution, particularly the First Amendment. It was written for a people who share at least some basic cultural agreement on what freedom of religion and speech mean. That's the initial flashpoint, so to speak. But what happens when religious extremism demands the death of infidels? What happens when freedom of speech includes calls to destroy the very system that protects it? Or what are we still honoring the spirit of the Constitution? Or are we blindly, yet again, committing national suicide in its name? Now listen to me. The answer isn't simple, but it starts with drawing a line between inclusion and invasion, between welcoming those who seek to become American and tolerating those who seek to subvert and pervert America from within. No nation ever survives without a culture. No people thrive without common values. America is not merely a GPS coordinate or an economy or a flag on a pole. It's an idea, and ideas die when they are no longer defended, no longer taught, no longer honored. This isn't about race. It's about reality. You can walk the streets of major American cities right now and see flyers, not in English. You can observe women covered head to toe in religious garb, enforced by imported patriarchies. You can hear children shout down teachers for trying to teach American history. And you'll hear teenage boys speak in a mix of gang lingo and fractured dialects, with more reverence for TikTok influencers and cartel lore, I guess, than for the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution. And you heard me, people born in this country, people born in this country, born here, multi-generations, part of some metastatic outlier. I don't know who these people, I have no idea what's going on. That is not diversity. That's dissolution. Listen to what I'm saying, please. I know. You're told this guy's nuts, right? I know. I understand that because that's what you're conditioned. We're being told to celebrate our own marginalization, and while we're paralyzed by political correctness, those seeking to displace us are emboldened. They're elevated by our silence. Now, here's the heart of the matter. The future of America depends not on GDP, not on who wins the next election, not even on, technological progress or AI. It depends on whether or not we still believe in what it means to be American. Not just in theory, but in the language we speak, in the values we teach our children, the history we honor, the laws we uphold. And don't think, well, that's old-fashioned. Oh, no. That is permanent. If we do not assert our culture right now, others are going to erase it. And if we don't teach our children why America matters, someone else is going to teach them why it doesn't. And if we continue to allow the fear of being called names, oh, God forbid, to outweigh the need and the necessity to speak the truth, we're going to lose everything. Now, this is for Democrats and Republicans. I don't care whether you're for Trump or it doesn't really matter. And remember, like I said, this has nothing to do with elections. This has nothing to do with politics or Fox News or CNN. It's about America. And it's not xenophobic to love your country. It's not racist to preserve your identity. And it's not intolerant to protect your values. It's common sense. And it's survival. And it's long overdue. Let me tell you something. Dismiss this as you want, at your peril. We are not just at a crossroads. We're at the edge of a cliff. And if we fall, there's no second chance. There's no redo. There's no make good, no comeback. The America that we know and that we love, our customs, our ethos, our cohesion, will become a chapter in a history book written in a language we no longer understand. So you've got to speak up right now and fight back. And do something. Be unapologetically American. Because if we lose this, we lose everything. And you can, and I know people are going to be saying, "Oh God, here he goes again. What is this? What is?" Dismiss what I'm saying at your peril. Dismiss it at your peril. Ignore me at your peril. Go ahead. But you know I'm right. And I need one further thing from you. You got to like this video. Like this video. Like this, subscribe to the channel. 80-something% of our videos are I guess, people aren't subscribed. That's our metric to get the truth out. So more people will hear this message. It's a simple message. There's nothing complicated. Look, I'm in the studio. I obviously don't spend a lot of time on makeup and wardrobe because it's not the way I look that's the matter. It's my words. It's the truth. So do me a favor, subscribe and comment. I've got some questions for you. Comment as you see fit.